So we have a bit of a funny situation here, and it really highlights the power that React Query gives you over the query cache. So what happens if I click on Add to List on this page, and then I go to this page? Now if I go back to the Discover page, I've actually cached the query of empty string where I found this book in the first place. So if I go back, we'll see that we have that book that I already added there just for a moment, and then React Query invalidates that query, goes to get the actual value for that query, and now our Discover page is updated because that book is already in my list, so it shouldn't show up here anyway. That experience is not super awesome, but the ability that we have to control this cache really is. So what I'm going to do is in this Discover book screen, I want to have a use effect right here that runs when I'm in my cleanup phase for this Discover book screen. So when I'm cleaning up this, I'm unmounting from the page, I want to do something. And what I want to do is refetch the book search query. And here we'll pass in the user because this is an authenticated request. We need to refresh this book search query. And then I'm going to need to get that from here. And of course, I also want to pass my dependencies here. Don't want to break the rules of hooks there. And now I just need to export this from my books module here. So we'll make a function called refetch book search query. And as a parameter, I'll take the user. And then here, I'm going to take the query cache and remove queries book search. So all the book search queries that we've got, regardless of what the specific query is. So now we're going to need that query cache. Let's come up here and pull that from React Query. And then we'll export this, save that, and let's come back and see if we fix this bug. So I click on that, and now I navigate here. We've cleaned up our Discover page. Now if I go back to the Discover page, we're going to start loading a fresh new set of books. Now this is great, except I kind of liked that it was cached and it was just available instantly when I didn't make a change like this. So what I'm going to do to take it a step further is I'm going to say query cache prefetch query, and then we want to basically do this same stuff. So all of this same configuration for our book search, not for use book, but for book search. So let's see, I guess I'll just take all of this same configuration and put it right there. And then for my query, I want that to just be an empty string. And this can be an empty string. We'll just stick it right in there for now. Then we'll save this, come back over here. We add the book, we navigate to the book, we navigate back to Discover, and voila, that book isn't there. And we also already have all of the books for this initial search preloaded. That's awesome. Let's refactor this because we've got some duplication here. So I'm going to make a function called getBookSearchConfig. And this is going to take a query and a user, and it's going to return the search config. So we'll just grab all this and put it right there. And then right here, we can say get book search config. We'll pass in the query and the user, and we'll do the same thing down here. We'll get that config, and for our query, we'll just do the empty string. Now we can go over here, we'll add a book, we'll go to that book's page, we'll go back to Discover, and it's already been pre-fetched. And this is what I mean when I say React Query gives you all of the knobs that you need to effectively manage the cache. So in review, what we did here is add a use effect that runs when this component is being cleaned up with a cleanup function here that simply calls refetch book search query. And then that function removes all book search queries from the cache and then triggers a prefetch for a book search query for an empty string, which is the first query that we get when we land on that page. So we still get the super snappy experience that we like without the odd behavior of having stale data disappear on us when we land on that page.